Joined with my friend Andy Nam, a longevity expert, and we are going to continue talking about all the things that we talk about on my Transformation Tuesday. Today, why do you keep doubting yourself, even when you know you're right? Have you ever known something so clearly, and then 5 minutes later, you've completely talked yourself out of it? And then later, you realize you're right. How often
I've
do you
been
do
in
that,
so many of
Andy?
those situations for sure, Amanda.
We do it so often. And I had somebody reach out last week and said, okay, yeah, I get this. I get all that you're saying, but why do I keep doing it? Even when I know I'm right. It's like, cool beans. Let's talk about it. Let's drag it out. Let's look at those patterns that we set ourselves up to. Because, like you said, Andy, we do it all the time.
hmm
I mean, I have a lot of things I need to do. You get that nudge, and it's like, oh, but not right now. It's like, yeah, get the nudge, do it. So, when we talked last week about anxiety versus intuition. And so today we're going to talk more about that intuition.
hmm
You feel something instantly. A lot of times you have no reason to think about it. It's not really on your agenda. You haven't been focusing or researching, but all of a sudden you know something. And you get this information and it's clear as a bell. And then your brain jumps in. What if I'm wrong? What if I'm overreacting? What will people think? Well, that's the one that gets us most of the time. I had a coach, and she talked about when the pandemic was happening and before it happened. She was standing in line at the grocery, and she got a nudge that she needed to buy water. And she's like, I don't drink bottled water. And she kept getting this, you need to buy water. And she's like, I don't think so. Guess who needed water? You know? And those things, when those things cross your mind, and after her example, and there's been a lot of other things like that. Usually, I get the nudge when I'm talking with someone because, well, let's face it, Andy, you and I, we have so many different things and services, and we have so much knowledge. We're those kooks, that keeper
Yes.
of odd knowledge, um, that we could really share a lot with people. But when we listen to our intuition, we know
hmm
who is the person who's open to hearing what I'm about to say. Who needs to know that I offer that service? Or who just needs me to say, gosh, that sucks today, you know?
hmm
And you go on. So don't doubt the first thing that comes up because those are things that you just know. Can you think of a recent example, Andy, of something like that?
Um, yeah, actually, it's funny. I'm actually inside my hyperbaric clinic right now, and I had a really good client. She's one of my founding members, and I was just talking to you about cancellations. And she was saying, "Oh, I have this retreat I went on the weekend, and I know I'm booked for today at 9 o'clock. And can I cancel? I'll pay the cancellation fee." And because she's canceling less than 24 hours, and she was very graceful about it. And I said, "No, it's all good. We become good friends now. She's literally my first member that bought in, right?" And I said, "Now I got a spot. Oh well, literally 5 minutes later, someone booked that spot. Like instant, I was like, whoa, it's like, the power of and I'm texting my friend, someone just booked your spot. So you let it go for someone that needed it. And it,
Yeah.
it was such an amazing feeling because it was like in my head, I was like, yes, by policy, she owes me for that because she took the spot. But it's like, no, it's like everything happens for a reason. And literally, it was literally 5 minutes. Like my app, it went ding. I was like, "What's this?" Is that someone booked this? That is so cool. Like technology is cool when it works, but it was just so cool how that just happens,
Yes.
right? And it just
Yeah.
felt, it just felt right.
But a lot of times we start doubting ourselves because we are trained, we are conditioned to not trust ourselves when things are too easy,
hmm
especially in the business world. Oh, that was easy to say. It's okay. I hear you. You're
Yeah.
human. We all have a bad day.
hmm
And then also in business, we are our own boss. So we have to
Yes.
answer to ourselves. But in the real world, sometimes when you make a decision like that, you have a boss that's overriding you, that's going to say, no, no, this is our policy, hold to it. And you're like, they're human, you know? And so many times that conditioning comes from being told that's not right, it didn't happen this way, or my favorite, you're too sensitive. And I know we work with a lot of empaths, a lot of people who are sensitive. And that's one of the big things that I do work on with people is learning how to separate yourselves in and out. And so kind of have a new term for this that's come up over the last few days and talking about it as an empath angel. So when you work with empaths, there's like this energy around them, and I work with them to pull their energy back in. But then also calling on their empath angel. It's not really something outside of you, but it's a way that you connect back in. So to use the empath angel, you're gonna pause and think about separating out what's your own emotions, because as empaths we feel everything and everything is loud and it's really hard to know what's actually yours. And this is where sometimes if you call on that empath angel, it helps to do three things. One, you're kind of setting up, she works as a filter, okay? And having her as a filter helps you to have discernment, to know what is your emotions, what is somebody else's emotions, and then just what's the truth about the situation. So that empath angel, she helped you to filter what you're feeling and not making decisions from overwhelm. Because when you have everyone else's, and especially us being in the healing world, it was real hard to understand. You had to separate those things out, Andy, this morning with your example.
Yes.
You want to have compassion because this person needs the services of the hyperbaric.
Yes.
And the business owner said, but that's my time.
Yes.
and being able to make the decision from what's right for this person in this place, and not being overwhelmed, not letting that business side come in and say, but these are the rules, because the reality is you still could have charged her a no-show fee and still booked it.
Correct. True.
Yeah. Because I know there's businesses. I know that happens. Yeah. But then the second thing this empath angel helps is that it doesn't shut down the need and the desire to feel the feelings. Mm-hmm. So you're allowed to feel and process those things, but you have that discernment, and now you have that emotional neutrality. It brings you back to a place where you can feel, but you're not consumed by those. If nothing else, maybe you visualize watching this angel filter those things. Mine, yours, the pros, the cons, which side of the page are you taking? What's your problem? What's their problem? So kind of engaging that there. And then the third thing is to really allow, by filtering things through, this empath angel turns down your anxiety and it turns up your clarity. Because our brains do not want to disappoint us. There was a show I used to watch with the kids. It was called Brain Games.
Okay.
And I refer to this all the time, and I think it was on Nat Geo. I don't even know if it's still current. There's got to be episodes you can watch. But the idea that our brain does not want to disappoint us. Mm-hmm. And so if your brain is thinking of all of these things, your brain doesn't want to make a decision. It'll just take all the decisions. And that just furthers that whole overwhelm and that anxiety. Where if you're filtering it through an empath angel, that can absorb some of that anxiety. So it doesn't tell you what to do, but it helps you to hear, see, sense, perceive more clearly. And a lot of that self-doubt for empaths isn't actually doubt. It's that overload that I got to fix everything. I've got to make it all better. So how do you think you could use an empath angel?
That would come in very handy. And my question as I'm listening to you is, do we need to call on an empath angel, or is it automatic once you figure it all out? Like, how do you pass the ball? You
I think
know?
it's like anything that we do. It's kind of like we are assigning an empath angel in the beginning as you're
Mm,
learning this discernment, this neutrality, and calming down that anxiety and bringing in the clarity. And then pretty soon, I mean, when you think about it, when you first learned any new skill,
mhm,
you had your cheat sheet.
correct.
And then you don't refer to that cheat sheet as time goes on. And as you get accustomed to really being able to separate things out and knowing, was it my feeling or was it their feeling? So as you get more centered, more grounded, and more fluent in separating this stuff out, for empaths, a lot of it has to do with bringing into our container and
Hmm.
just not, you know, diving into the deep end to decide if the water's cold.
Correct, correct, correct.
Learning how to just dip our toe in and go, ooh, that's hot. Ooh, that's cold. And not having to put our whole self in there, to not having to feel all the feelings because it's easy. And when you're carrying emotions, someone else's emotions and
Mhm.
your intuition all at once, of course, you don't want to trust what you're feeling. And so that's what gives us our doubt. And so being able to really separate those out, I think, is just going to be so, so important to really move forward. So maybe we'll think about this a little bit deeper because I know I picked on you and your example this morning, Andy.
It's
So
all good.
yeah, you're a brave soul coming on the Transformation Tuesday. So just for a moment, put your hand on your heart and close your eyes if you're in a place that you feel safe, and imagine or feel an energy around you that is calm, that is steady, and clear. This feeling of calm, steady, and clear, this is what I would call your empath angel. Not here to fix anything. It's here to help you sort out what's yours and what's not. So as you sit here, this sense of calm, clear, and steady, I just want you to notice what quiets down. Drop them in the chat if you like, or just make notice of that. That's what it feels like when you bring in your empath angel. And sometimes it's just naming it. Are you doing anything? You're stopping in the moment and asking for the clarity. And if we call it an empath angel, great. If nothing else, it's just stopping. Okay? So it gets a lot easier to release what's not yours when you can sit in that calm. Did you feel a calmness there, Andy?
Surprisingly, yes. It was interesting. It's like I cannot see myself closing my eyes, so I don't know how ridiculous like I look, but there
Everyone
was
else's we're close to, it's okay.
there was definitely a calm, which is sort of nice.
Yeah. But did you hear that self-judgment? I couldn't see myself with my eyes closed. I don't know what I look like.
Hmm.
That hesitation, that external judgment. I've been running around this morning with our electrical stuff here and having new breakers and new things. I popped a breaker, so I had to run around today. That was my delay, and the dogs. We have a new dog that's been here about a week now, and so figuring out how everybody, what their schedules are and what it works for when I'm recording. And as we did this exercise, they all got quiet.
Wow.
They are quieter. And so that just shows you that, the animals in the wild, they play off your energies too.
Hmm.
So this is where, from this point, when you take in that, to feel that calm, that steady, and that clear, that's when you're going to clear out the overwhelm, that emotional confusion, and the fear of being wrong. Like, did I close my eyes long enough? Did I look sincere? Is she going to call on me? All of those things that we do. Because your sensitivity isn't the problem. Being an empath and being sensitive. It just needs you to direct it. So at some point, a lot of us learned it was just safer to question ourselves than to trust ourselves. Make sense?
Oh, plenty.
And when we throw in so many different cultures, Andy, you've lived in other cultures. I've lived in other parts of the United States, and there's different cultures and traditions everywhere we go. Things that we do. And so you just really want to pay attention. Where are you true to you? Because in the morning you wake up in your meat suit, and at night you go to bed in your meat suit. You're the one that lives it, not everybody else. So, yeah, my friend Mary refers to it as a meat suit. So, and more things. My take on a lot of this. We are souls having a human experience. And, keeping everybody where they need to be, to explore the things you need to do, to learn the things that you need to learn. And so knowing that your intuition, and we talked a lot about this last week. If you missed it, check it out on the replays on YouTube. Your intuition is something that you know immediately. There's a calmness to it. It's clear information, and it doesn't argue. Intuition does not argue. Doubt, on the other hand, that comes in after the information. It gets loud. It loops over and over and over. You keep thinking about the same thing and like, oh, was this the right decision? Was it not? What if? Then the what ifs get in there.
Hmm.
And they make you start looking for evidence. So thinking about that, these things that come in after, they get louder, they loop, and they make you look for evidence. Those are an intuition. That's your anxiety, that's your doubt. That's what happens when you don't listen to it, when you don't buy the water, when you don't buy the toilet paper, when you don't tell someone about services, or when you share with them and they're not at a place to hear you. So intuition speaks once, doubt repeats. Doubt repeats. And we've also talked about where it feels in your body. Were you aware of anywhere in your body that you felt your knowing, or you felt where the doubt comes in with that exercise, Andy?
It always seems to come right around the middle of the chest, to be honest, right around heart centric. It's that seems to be where all my intuition comes from,
It's in your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heart, a lot of people will feel it like throat chakra, like they're being strangled, they can't speak, or they need to speak out. A lot of people also feel it in their stomach. They get that
Mm.
uneasy gut feeling about things. So
I get that when you feel like that whole deja vu situation. That's when I get the gut feeling.
the
Yes.
gut one.
Yes.
So look at you, Andy. A year ago, you and I would not be having this conversation. But as you can feel into it, it gets so much easier to know what decisions, where you need to spend your time investing in more energy, more activity, or where you just need to be calm and quiet.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think that that's really important, because your intuition is going to feel grounded and steady. Doubt is that tight, that spinning, that heaviness you talk about in your chest.
Right.
And we think about that with the the breadcrumbs we did last week, tracking it back. Where did we feel this before? Where were we aware of it before? And that helps us to understand where our intuition originates. And that, I just got an email from another gal in the spiritual industry. Kelly talked about the universe hitting you upside the head with a clue by four. Instead of a two by four, a clue by four. What are the clues? What are the things that you're not paying attention to? That you have those repeated signs and symbols. And we're not talking about the looping.
Hmm.
We're talking about when you have a nudge that keeps nudging you in the same direction. When you're not listening to it, you're getting hit with a clue by four. I loved her analogy this morning when I read it. So, yeah, you want to receive that intuitive hit. You don't want to override it.
Hmm.
See it, validate it. When you don't, then things get more confusing, and your
Right.
self trust drops out. So every time you override yourself, every time you don't listen to your intuition, you're furthering that lesson to not listen to yourself. So it's really important that you start looking at those nudges or how they hit you. So if we break that pattern, first of all, notice it. What
Hmm.
do you keep denying as being the truth? Pausing before you react. I know I did a 7-day reset thing last week, and every day there was a new activity, and most of those activities were just to stop and acknowledge what was happening. You're not fixing it, you're not doing anything,
Hmm.
but just taking that pause. And so then ask yourself, did these things come in before? Did they come in while I was being calm, or did they come in while I was in fear and judgment? That also lets you know, is it intuition or not? And then act in small ways that really help you to bring that in. So, can you see how those things have played for you over the last few months, especially, Andy?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is becoming clearer and clearer as I'm working with you over the last couple of years. It's just so interesting that you're talking about intuition and we all have it, but it's just a matter of just noticing it more. And I get gentle nudges all the time. We've been working together for a while, and even now I'm sleeping more restfully. It's like I know when to pass the things that I don't want. And it felt ridiculous doing it at first when you told me, hey, pass it off to the angel. I was like, who am I talking to? But it works. I tell you, it works. It's like, oh my God, I slept last night and I didn't have nothing keeping me up with my crazy frenetic thoughts. It's quite amazing when you really tap into, what we all have, right? I think, you don't have to understand it. I don't have to completely understand it,
Yeah.
but leaning into it, all I can say, it's been restful. I love it.
Yeah, and that's where, and I tell people, if it's calling on your angels, if it is, the worry dolls at night,
Yes.
if it's your good day rock, whatever it is, our brain feels it has to protect us, and so it works overnight when we're sleeping. It's like, dude, if you don't take a break, I don't get a break.
Exactly.
And a lot of the tapping exercises, because I did the EFT tapping for
Hmm.
quite a while, and I still love it. I just forget it's one of those tools in your.
You actually need to do though. Exactly.
Yeah, you got to do it. But some of the formatted ones there, in talking about how the brain really does obligate itself to take care of you, and how you consciously turn it off. Say, hey, not right now. When you've got everything, it's kind of like when you have a newborn baby. You make sure they're clean, they're dry, they're safe, they're warm, everything's good. And then if they fuss a little, you can let them fuss. You can let them learn to self-soothe. You don't, every time you hear a noise, run in. You've
Mhm.
checked on them. You know they're safe. It's the same thing with the brain. We know everything's safe. We've got it down pat. We're going to take care of it in the morning. We've got a schedule. So it's kind of like that. So let's do a little bit of theta. So with theta healing, just say yes out loud to receive the work that we're going to do. Today, let's work on clearing that fear of being wrong, that it's a sin to be wrong, because it's not. Sometimes we are wrong, and it's okay. We're going to own it, and we're going to work through it, but we don't need to be afraid of it. And that fear of judgment, that obligation to be judged, and the obligation to judge others. Let's let go of some of that too. And then, along with all of those things, also comes that external validation. So
Hmm.
let's release some of that need for external validation that you know in your knowing, you know in yourself, you know in your heart, that you can trust that inner knowing, and that it's safe to trust yourself, and that you can recognize in your body. Start listening to your body, where you feel it, where you don't feel it, and using those as really, really good truths as well. So if you'd like those beliefs, just say yes out loud. We'll do
Yes.
the forgiveness work as well. Forgiveness to yourself, to your higher power, and to anybody that's really been reinstilling these beliefs for you, that it's safe to let go of them. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that feels kind of tough around the judgment one there, because we judge ourselves so strongly. So hopefully we can encourage that with some better positive self-talk. So you're not learning intuition, you're just remembering to trust it.
Hmm.
So today's angel card, I will add this. Oh, there it is. So our angel card today is the angel of honesty. When I am honest with myself, I feel security and the support of my soul in my mind and heart. The first step is to be honest with yourself, and that means to be free. From the very beginning, in any situation, if you choose clarity and honesty, everybody will feel at ease with the truth and will bring congruence to your feelings and actions. No further clarification is necessary, and all flows with beauty and dynamicism. That's a big word. That's a big word, but again, I could not have picked a better angel. So she brings home the fact that you don't doubt yourself because you're wrong. You doubt yourself because you've been taught not to trust what is right. And of course, if you're ready to stop second guessing yourself and actually understand how you can receive, I encourage you to book a discovery call with me, or possibly even look into doing one of the diagnostic energetic reviews with me. You can find all of that at amandabethhealing.com. So, Andy, what do you have coming up tonight on the Chronic Health Collective?
Yes, tonight we have, hold on, see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Wrong one.
Get me out of here.
We have Jessica Hammock tonight, and she has special guest Eileen McDonald, and it's going to be a very interesting episode. Talking about, woo, you're nice and big again. Give me a sec here. Technology, right? They're going to be talking about the power of breath, not just breathing, and it's a big topic around this is about carbon dioxide, and because everyone talks about oxygen, right? But carbon dioxide is actually a big part of breathing too. So it's going to be a very interesting episode tonight on the Chronic Health Collective.
Awesome. That'll be 7 p.m. right here on all the channels and E360 TV Live as well. And also, if you've missed any of those amazing episodes of the Chronic Health Collective, there, of course, are recordings in YouTube and on the other channels.
Yes,
And
exactly.
Chronic Health Collective, my goodness, we are at the end of the month. We've got a magazine coming out, the first of the month. How is it May already, Andy?
I don't even know where the year's gone. Almost half the year's gone already. It's like pretty soon I'm going to have to learn how to write 2027. It's insane.
Let's not rush things. Well, thank everybody for joining us today, whether you catch us live or in the replay. We're just glad to have you reach out if you've got any questions, anything that maybe you didn't understand correctly or you think I misspoke. I'm happy to entertain any conversations that can help us all learn and to grow and to make this a better world just one vibe at a time. I'll see y'all next week.